Come.
Okay, we'll be right there.
Hello.
Hi.
Kitchen. Clean.
You want me to clean?
Kitchen. Water.
Meet the talking cat of New York City. No, we're not talking about Salem from Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
I have to go to the bathroom.
This is Bruno, a 19-year-old Brooklyn-based cat who has been mastering human language for years. I stumbled upon Bruno's Instagram page and was blown away. A cat actually speaking to his human. I had to learn more. So I sat down with Bruno's mom, Lizzy Cross, a Brooklyn-based artist from Palo Alto, California, to get the full story. Can Bruno really communicate? What's the strangest thing he's ever said? And how does one throw a birthday party for a 19-year-old cat? Here's what happened in Greenpoint, Brooklyn. About to meet the talking cat of New York City. I don't know what to expect here.
Hey.
Hi, good to see you.
Good to see you.
I was good on the steps. Hi, Kika. Now, does Kika speak?
She will use the button board
Wow.
when it's really important.
It's got to be like a dire situation.
Yes.
Oh, I didn't even see him over there. I'm giving the birthday boy space.
Oh, that's a good idea. He also knows that you're here.
Okay, so you've discussed this. Hi.
This is Bruno's board.
103 buttons.
Drive. Did you drive here?
Wow. Oh, wow. I did not. I took the subway.
No, we don't have a subway.
No subway button.
That might be the closest thing.
My mind is blown because Bruno just asked me if I drove here. So I'm immediately floored right now. If only there was a button for the New York City subway, but we'll improvise. We met at like kind of a networking type event, and we were all at a table, like 6 of us. And everyone's talking about like their life and what they do professionally and a little bit of what they do for fun. And you bring up this talking cat idea, and everyone at the table was like, "What are you talking about? Yeah. Tell me more." Yeah. And so the human come, we'll show a clip of it. Was like
that was the one that got you.
Yeah, that was one that was like, okay, this is for real. This is a learning thing. Then I went down this rabbit hole of like YouTube, and there's famous talking cat TikTokers that I'm sure you've heard of.
Yes.
Billy, does that ring a bell?
Billy, yes.
Am I getting that right?
Yes,
Okay,
rest
Billy.
in peace, Billy. Yeah.
Oh, Billy, has moved on.
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Fairly recently.
Wow.
But yeah, she was the big
catfluencer.
Yeah.
Is that a thing?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, she was the one who really made it like a thing that cats were also using the buttons, because it was for dogs. That was like the thought. Stella was the original talking dog.
Okay.
And her mom was using like these sort of her mom, if I know this correctly, works like with language in her own right for humans and helping people to learn how to speak in alternative ways. And so she started doing this with her dog, and her dog took to it. And then, so Stella, she's amazing.
Stella.
And then FluentPet is like...
That's like the brand.
Yeah, they picked up on that idea and made it like a little bit more functional and like easier to like install in one's home. And the smaller buttons, so smaller creatures could use them. And yeah, like it's just like those pads, I don't know what to call them. They're like interlocking. Right, because it's like you add on, right?
Yeah. You can make this board as small or as intricate as you want.
Right. Yes.
Right.
Yeah. So like everyone's is so different for like their situation. I live in New York, so I have to keep mine pretty compact. Whereas some people have them like sprawling around their living rooms. And I think it also, cats, it's fascinating. I'm sure you've seen this. Cats have like a very different way of using their buttons.
Okay.
They're so, they're so graceful and fluid. And
as compared to dogs.
Yeah.
Because yes, I saw it live here earlier, and it was very graceful and very purposeful. So what is the dog just bashing them, breaking them?
Well, like I'd say dogs are very purposeful, but it's like usually you see their intention and then they press. And cats, it's almost like they just will use like their back foot, or like they'll just walk across the board and like it looks effortless.
It does.
And with dogs, it's very effortful. Yeah.
Okay. Now, so Stella, the dog, was this the first time that you like thought of this, that this crossed your mind, that you were made aware of this technology?
I was first introduced to it via Bunny, who is Alexis of FluentPet's dog. And Bunny is like neurotic, I would say. She's a little, the one that really caught me was that she had this like little existential crisis, and it was like no tomorrow or something. It was like,
oh wow,
like, we're like,
dark.
Oh my gosh, yes. And really, she was having some questions come up, and like why dog, and
very
like
deep.
Her human is a human. Why am I a dog? And that
natural question. That's wow. That's amazing.
That's the stuff that made it to me first.
Was this TikTok? Was this a friend?
Instagram.
Was it served to you? Would a friend send it to you?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Instagram, you see
An
this
algorithm of some sort.
Of course. And the light bulb goes off, and do you immediately think of Bruno because you have two pets?
Right. No, I immediately thought of Kika.
You thought of Kika first.
So my little dog. Little
right.
Chihuahua. So I grew up with cats, and I understand cats. I didn't feel like Bruno and I needed help communicating. He's very vocal. We have like pretend conversations all the time, and I didn't feel like I needed any help with him. Kika came into my life, like my sister passed away and I took Kika in. And so I've never had a dog before that was mine. And I felt like I needed some help in like understanding what it is that she wanted. So I got the buttons for her.
Got it. Kika was the original. And was it just, you started small?
Yeah.
Just a few buttons?
Yeah. There's like a starter kit that has like 6 buttons. So yeah, we started, I think our first button was outside.
Okay.
That was like the most important thing, is I needed her to tell me if she needed to go outside.
Yeah. Hopefully you didn't learn the hard way. Well, maybe you did. It sounds like you maybe did.
Yeah, there's some things leading up to that where it was very important that she could tell me this. So I'll just tell you how so I got that set of buttons and was, going, I think the methods have changed a little bit, there's been more research and development happening. And so one of the things I was doing was I was target training with her to try to get her to like understand the idea of pressing buttons. She had a little bit of trouble. She's 5 pounds, of pressing it hard enough, which I think larger animals just naturally will press a little bit harder. And I think she also has a little bit of hesitancy around making a big sound that comes out of the buttons. To her, it's a very big sound. So we were struggling to teach her how to do this. And I think, she really wanted to, dogs really want to learn things, but she was struggling. And Bruno was watching us do all of this, and he started pressing them.
Maybe some FOMO.
Maybe. But, I would
just
say...
Just intrigue?
I would say if I look back on it, he was trying to help me. He was trying to help me, or help her learn how to do this. So if he pressed it and we went outside, maybe if more of us were pressed. So, one of the greatest styles of teaching, the methods of teaching, is just to model for them, just casually model for them. So as you're talking, pressing the corresponding buttons, and that's like a way of teaching them. It's a very similar way to like how a baby human learns how to speak, is just by listening to the conversations around them and seeing what happens. So having 2 of us pressing the buttons, I think he was on board with like helping me teach Kika how to use it.
So did Kika start to learn, or Kika was never really got into it, and Bruno, it kind of shifted, and Bruno was like, I'm taking over. I love this.
Pretty much, yeah. She did eventually learn how to use the board. She will press buttons in an emergency situation, or just out of excitement, she'll use it. But typically, it's all Bruno's. I think there might be a little bit of a territorial thing going
Okay.
on now.
Right. Especially with the Instagram fame.
Yes.
Does Kika have a page?
So Kika also was the original pet
okay.
Instagram that I had, because she's so her nickname is Pretty.
Pretty.
Because she's beautiful and she loves to pose for photos. So that's how she had to have an Instagram. And then I started sharing Bruno's videos on her Instagram, and then realized this is way off brand for Kika.
Yeah. Let them both shine.
Yeah.
Let them both shine.
Yes. He had to have his own. So Kika was the impetus for all of this.
Okay. Paved the way.
Yeah. Yep.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Now, okay, was there kind of a one aha moment with Bruno? You know, so Bruno's learning, clearly showing interest. Was there a moment where you thought, oh, this is so great, I'm so thankful to have this? You know, one instance where Bruno like shined and you said, we need to get more of these buttons. This is clearly working.
Yeah. Let's see. He would speak for Kika. And that was, so, you know, my original intention was that I needed help understanding her. And so in the original outside button, right, he would say outside potty. And
on Kika's behalf.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a friend.
Yeah.
That's very sweet.
It's more than being a big brother. He's like our house manager. He knows what everyone needs and takes care of us.
That's amazing. And, you know, I'm assuming this, and we'll show the board in a little bit and just give some, because I have so many context, so many questions about the board naturally. You know, did you grow this gradually, or was it, oh, we have these 6 buttons, whatever it may be, let's add 3, let's add another 3, or was it, we're going all in?
No,
let's give Bruno the whole language.
You know, it was a little bit that way. Yeah, I actually, so if you buy more buttons at one time, it's cheaper. And definitely I hit a point where I was like, we're going to need a whole bunch of these. So I just bought like the big pack of them. I think it was something like 36 or something that was like a bargain if you bought them in bulk and on a sale. So I bought them all at once, but then introduced them, you know, 1 or 2 at a time, because that felt right for like just learning things. So it wasn't like super chaotic. Suddenly there's all these different things. Although
baby steps.
I will say every once in a while I've had to like reorganize the board, and that I'm always nervous to do that.
I'm shocked that's even possible, because once like, you know, the location, you know, you mentioned how graceful Bruno is. It seems like, how do you unlearn that? Or how do you change that learning? Right, because the thing that we as humans don't understand is how are they keeping track of these buttons, right? Like, it's sort of beyond our senses, because like we write on them what the button is to keep track of it. They're not reading it, right? Like, that's not what's happening. Or are they?
But it seems so. I've had to reorganize the board a couple times, and he'll just learn it like so fast. My theory is that it's scent based. That like part of how they know which button is which. Yeah, because when he's learning a new button, he sniffs it more often. I don't know though. Honestly, it's like so beyond our senses. I think. However, they're doing this.
It's a great mystery. You mentioned introducing a new button. Like, walk us through what that looks like, because I have so many questions. How do you like customize that sound? You know, because I'm sure there's some that are out of the box. I'm making an assumption here. Like I saw mad or angry. Right. Like there's like that was a viral clip. Yeah. And so are there certain ones that are out of the box, like every owner needs mad, everyone needs outside, you know, these certain things, but how much of it is custom?
So every button you customize.
You customize everything.
Your voice. You record your voice into the button.
Wow.
Yeah. So
okay.
It's like a little bit
I did not know that.
It's a little bit weird that you're hearing your voice talk to you via your
Speaking
pet.
to yourself.
Yeah. And then you wonder, like because there's so much interpretation involved. I mean, there's so much interpretation involved in language, no matter who's saying it. But to have it be your voice coming through an unexpected person, like it's an animal that we don't expect to be speaking to us. Like, it's bizarre that it's your voice. But yeah, you record it.
Okay.
Yeah. So you can choose whatever you want. They kind of suggest, like, they'll give you like a sticker sheet of like the classic things that people will put in. But then yeah, I think that everyone comes up with, they have to find their own vocabulary and like fill in the gaps.
Got it. So a new button is involved. You get a new button. You record this sound, whatever it may be, an observation, a command.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you, from programming it to communicating with Bruno, do you press it and then you demonstrate? Like you press mad and you demonstrate anger? I have no idea how that works.
I know.
I'm so intrigued by this.
Part is, so that is how I started, was like trying to like define it. I would we have like, we've known each other a long time, so I would sort of talk to him about it as I was programming it and putting it in there. And I was explaining to him what the word was and like putting it in there and be very purposeful with it. And he started pressing no when I was doing this and walking away, which like was it's his favorite thing in the world, is using these buttons. So like for him to like, it was just such a display of like, I don't want this. It was like,
was this early on?
This was like we'd had like a dozen or maybe 20 buttons at that point. So like maybe midway in the process. And
so maybe he was saying, that's it. We're calling it at 12. We're calling it at 20. But or maybe that was just an initial reaction.
Yeah. So I could not figure out what was going on. I'd be like, that is what it means. Like what?
Yeah.
I don't. Okay. And then I think I was on the phone talking to someone, and I said, I know. And Bruno went to his board and said, no, like in the same rhythm as what I had just said. And it clicked that he was saying, I know.
Wow.
I already know what this means. And like,
brilliant.
Yeah.
He was using his KNOW.
Yes.
Wow, that is mind blowing.
Yeah. So from then on, I haven't bothered to explain to him what words mean. I think there are times where he'll say like once learned word, and usually that means that he wants a button for the word that we've been using or that I've been using that he doesn't have access to. And sometimes it's like something weird is happening. That this was it's weird to have cameras all over your home and to like show people like intimate things that are happening in your home. But so one very bizarre thing that was happening for me is I had to get a colonoscopy. And so my body was going through some stuff, and he was like, what learn? And so I sat down with him and told him what a colonoscopy was. And
just verbally or through the board?
I didn't actually make a button for him. I decided that we didn't need to talk about
may not need that button.
Yeah. We don't need to talk about this forever, but he did want to know what was going on.
He could sense you were not at ease.
Yeah,
yes.
And that something weird was happening, and he'd like to know what's going on. But for the most part, he seems to be able to understand language. We're coming at this as a much older cat, right? Like he was 16 when we got the buttons.
16, wow.
Yeah. And he's always been very attentive to this, like the sounds that humans make.
Mm-hmm.
He likes to mimic them. He'll mimic the intonation of them. So I think he's been paying attention, and or I don't know.
Clearly paying attention.
Yeah.
I mean, if he's connecting the nuance of just the sound of words, it shows you, like your no example, it shows you that it's more than just this button response mechanism. Because some people comment online in a negative way, and they're like, oh, clickbait, this cat isn't talking, it's
Right.
just like a, simple command, just like those bells you have on doors for dogs or cats, and they just hit it when they, but what you're saying, it's so much more, it's much more than that. It's more nuanced than that. It's truly communicative.
Yeah, I mean, and I think we can step back from it and be like, what is communication between humans? Like, it's a learned response, perhaps because, in the beginning, we were getting our needs met.
Rewards.
There was a
Right.
reward for communication. I think there's a reward for communication in animals as well. Like, I mean, he loves it so much. He'll just purr and like, would just get like really squirmy and happy, just sitting on his board. If I'll come home and he'll greet me and he'll be like, talk. He just wants to know, he just wants me to talk to him.
Wow.
And he just loves it. And that in itself seems to be the kind of like a bigger reward to him than if I gave him like treats. So I would say like, it is reward based. Like he's like trained himself to do something that makes him happy. Mm-hmm. But isn't that like what we're doing too? Like, I don't know, what's the difference?
Right.
Like, why are we challenging like the legitimacy of him communicating versus like what we're doing?
Yeah.
So.
Online haters have made it all the way to cat buttons. It's
I mean, yeah, they gotta let that anger out somewhere.
Yeah, they gotta let out some.
Yeah.
That's amazing about just asking about your day. And when you're responding, does Bruno hit certain buttons when you say certain words or tell me more? Is there kind of a back and forth dialogue, or is it just talk and that's kind of it?
It's different every time.
Different every time. Okay.
Yeah. Sometimes he'll tell me what I did. Like he already knows. Okay, so we're going into a different territory.
Okay. Yeah, I've been warned.
Yeah, like he likes to narrate what's going on.
Okay.
And sometimes he already seems to know what I was doing but he also he seems to enjoy it just purely for the communication process. So he'll just
camaraderie.
Yeah.
So one question I had, because I brought this up to a friend of mine. We were out last week talking about our plans. I mentioned this to him. He and his wife are cat owners. They have 2 cats, and I told him about this because I was like, oh, maybe him and his wife are interested in this, and he had heard of it. And he brought up a very interesting point that I wanted to ask you about, because he said, I kind of don't want that, because then, and I'm not trying to, like, he's a great pet owner.
Yeah.
I just think it takes a different turn. It becomes something different. So my question to you is, is there a time where you're binge watching a show, you're watching Severance, you're just, you're having a nice night, you're doing whatever, and then like Bruno starts talking and you're just like, oh man, I just want to zone out and watch this, because the obligation becomes different. If it wasn't for the board, you wouldn't quite know. It would just be, oh, my cat's just snuggling up against me, whatever it is. So any moments like that?
Yes.
Okay.
I remember I recorded myself and I was like, what have I done?
I've created a monster.
Sunshine.
We just went outside. I know.
Sunshine.
Oh my God.
Because he, in the beginning stages, was pressing the buttons kind of incessantly. And I don't know if he was learning it or it was we were learning. And it was very similar, I would say, to like a toddler who had like newly found speech and was just saying the word over and over. And like, it was almost like saying why. And it drove me kind of crazy. I was like, what is going on? Why? This is terrible.
Within the first year?
Yeah, this was in the first year. I will say that we got over that. Like, he moved past that stage. And really, the problem was I wasn't paying attention. I wasn't giving him the attention needed to like continue the conversation. And we had like only so few words at that time.
Right.
So it was really hard for me to understand what he wanted. Or usually it's not even what he wants. It's like he just wants to tell me something. He wants to show me something. He wants to help usually. But I wasn't able to just be like, hey, what's going on? And like figure it out. And so we could move on. He was like just going to keep pressing that button until I gave him the response that he needed. So I think it was really more I needed to learn.
Learning curve.
Yeah.
But since then, it's been pretty
it's been,
smooth, it seems.
it's been like the most amazing thing that's ever happened.
Wow.
Like, he's shown me it is so worth it for me to start paying attention to what it is he's trying to tell me. And
Right.
I feel like that was like I needed to learn like what he's saying is important. Like, he's an important being in my life, and what he has to tell me is actually like amazing stuff that he's experiencing the world in a way that I can't experience. And it's so generous of him to want to tell me stuff that like every time he tells me something, I'm like, okay, what is it? What is it this time? Because like it's so intentional. And I've learned this, that like, even if it seems like he's just so graceful on the board and he's just like it seems like it's an accident, it's typically like I would say almost never an accident.
Right.
He does have an oops button to say like
Okay. Undo.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I would say oops has become an entirely different subject for him.
Okay. Noted.
Yeah, we use those words for a lot of different things. But yeah, he rarely ever needs that button to like undo what he said. Even in his like his older age, and like I think he's less graceful. Like, this behind us used to be his cat tree that he would climb, and now he's too old to use it. So I would say he's not quite as capable as he once was to like be so graceful, but he's still, I mean, he knows where every button is on the board and how to press it. What was the question?
No, it's an amazing story. The question was about, you jumping into this new realm, and it's a new responsibility on you.
Yeah.
More than other pet owners, which leads me to, what would you say to other cat people? What would you say to them if they're thinking about exploring this?
I would say I think it's legitimate. Are you ready to hear what your pet has to say? Because I think it takes both to be, like, both sides need to be there for the conversation to happen.
Right.
And then there's also the concept of like, you have to believe that they are being intentional in order for them to learn how to like express themselves to you. So, are you on board to like really actually open yourself up to what this other being in your home might have to say, and maybe it's different from your experience of the world. I think that's a really important thing to think about, because I've had friends who've tried it and it didn't work for them. And I think that the only reason why it didn't work was because they didn't really have that space in their lives to like open up to that. And that's okay. I think
it's great advice. I love your story. I think it's a beautiful story, and just, I'm sure so many people are curious about it. I was just immediately curious about it, and you're a New Yorker here in Brooklyn, and we're trying to showcase New Yorkers with great stories, and the channel is Ambient New York. It's all about kind of like Zen space and finding calm in the chaos that we live in. You know, we live in this chaotic environment, and you've clearly found it. You've found this great tool.
And Bruno in particular is a really good fit for that description. He's originally a street cat from Manhattan.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, bless you. Oh, my goodness.
Bless you.
Bless you. You.
Street cat from Manhattan.
Yeah.
That's how this began.
Yeah.
Around what age?
I think he was like an adult, like a 10-month-old kitten when they took him in.
Okay.
He'd had some kind of altercation and he had to be removed from like the street colony.
Sure.
And he was like, he was like not quite a kitten anymore, and a black cat, so a little bit harder to adopt out. And they'd put him to work this is Bide-A-Wee, it's like a famous shelter in New York. He was in with the kid. They had them in with the kittens, socializing them. He'd like been put to work. I went in to try to adopt a cat and like was shown 20 cats and had no connection to any of them, and that's so strange for me. And then they brought him out, and I was like, "Oh, hi, I know you."
Wow. So immediate connection, and hence the connections is still, it just keeps growing. I think what we're going to do is take a look at the board a little bit and just take a closer look at the buttons, maybe some of Bruno's favorite buttons.
Sure.
Maybe one of Bruno's more like crazy stories. How can people find out about you and Bruno online?
So Bruno has an Instagram. It's at bruno.know, Know. Hence his story about...
Brilliant. Yeah. I love it. Bruno.know.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
Amazing. Well, let's check out the board. We're here at the infamous board. And this is kind of a reaction. I have not done any cheating. I have not really looked until now closely. Things that I'm immediately seeing, I see this blue area, Ma, Bruno, love, Kika, family. So we clearly have our like familial space,
yes.
Right?
Okay.
Now, what was first?
So
on the board.
So I think Sunshine was our first button, and that has, we've had to migrate into, like, I'll use like each tile to be like a section that maybe are like sort of similar words, or maybe words that we might use together.
Right.
So where is Sunshine? I don't even know. Let's see. Oh, here it is. Sunshine is here with rain and outside and home. So like sort of environmental things. We're sort of in between the two different systems that FluentPet makes. They make 3 different types. But we're upgrading right now to the Connect system. So these lighter ones are connected to this transmitter that then connects to your phone. And that's how I get notifications from Bruno when I'm away.
Oh, we didn't even talk about that.
Yeah.
So this is 24/7. You get
right.
Wow.
Yeah.
Can you speak back in this speaker system through your phone?
So I think the Connect system has some connectivity to, they have something that I haven't upgraded to, but you can, if you have a camera system on that's looking at your board, which most of us do for some reason, it seems,
okay.
Because it's so exciting. Are you going to come sit with me? Come sit with me, buddy. See, this is his favorite subject is the board, so he would love to just be here with us.
He's been involved the entire shoot. This is amazing. Bruno knows what's going on.
Yeah. I said, Matt, I don't know that he'll want to participate because we can't make a cat participate.
You said your exact words, Bruno doesn't perform on command. Bruno's proven us wrong here.
Yes. Yeah, he's into it.
Okay, so did the communication back? That's, you do not communicate back if you get push notifications?
One of one of the nanny cams has the possibility to talk through it. So I will respond through the nanny cam in this kind of like garbledy, like robotic voice and respond to him when I'm away. And it works pretty well.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned house sitters. What happens when Lizzy's not here? Do you train the cat sitter?
I leave it a
5-week training program.
It should have one.
Like day and night, rigorous training on the buttons.
Like a residency.
Right.
Yeah. I had to like realize that what Bruno really loves about me going away is that he's excited to learn how to communicate with a different human. So it's like, it's a new challenge for him. And we call it home adventure time. Like
home adventure time.
Yeah. So home adventure time.
Ah.
Yeah. So I I explain how it works to them, and then I tell them, you know what, he has to learn how to communicate with you, because yes,
different per person.
Right. So that's his challenge, and he loves it. So like, if I try to manipulate it too much, I'm not sure that it would be helpful.
No, I don't see that being fun.
Yeah. There's so many inside things that we've figured out together that like over time I understand what he means by certain combinations. But I think it's great that he gets to learn how to get another person's attention and get them to do what he's hoping they'll do.
Right. I'm noticing themes as I look at this. So I see this top right corner seems like, regular characters, if you will. I'm seeing Barbara, Linda, Meg.
Yeah.
So it looks like we have like kind of the friend section, whether they're visiting or maybe you're on the phone with one of these friends.
Yep.
We have this. I see some pretty simple responses here in the center. Yes, okay, no, thanks, what?
Exactly.
So I'm seeing logic. I'm blown away by what's the quantity here? What's the count of buttons?
103? Yeah.
103.
Yeah.
Is Bruno in like the top 1% of cats who, because I'm assuming not every cat has 103 buttons.
No, yeah, I think it's pretty extreme. Yeah, I think he must be in the top.
Advanced.
There. Yeah.
Advanced language skills. So one thing I wanted to talk to you about was crazy. I don't know if crazy is the right word, like wildest Bruno story in terms of vocabulary, a situation that comes to mind.
Sorry.
For you.
The wildest thing he's ever said.
Like the craziest thing. It could be a funny thing. It could be
Okay,
anything that stands out.
A funny thing that happened recently. There's sort of different levels of, maybe crazy is the right word.
Okay.
Of things that
All right.
said.
Stick with that.
So recently he said, I'd gotten back from a trip where like a sitter had been here, and he was very upset because some of the plants were dry, and so there was like this whole backstory of that. He was very worried about the plants, and so the first time I was leaving the house since I'd gotten back, he was being very vocal, and he said, I was explaining to him what I was doing that day, and he said, "Okay, pretty concerned."
Pretty concerned.
Which it took me a while. Like I had to like replay the video to myself and be like, no, he's using words the way that I would, where like that's exactly how I would say it, to sort of be like gentle with the person, be like, so I'm pretty concerned that you're leaving. It's just, I thought that was amazing use of tact.
Gentle.
Yeah.
Right. Honesty.
And like a different usage of pretty than I'd ever considered him using
Good point.
before.
Right. Because he's trained on the more physical, like complimentary.
Yeah, I
pretty.
mean, like I would typically think that we only use pretty to be like, like beauty, right?
Right.
But clearly he's been listening to how I use it. And
right.
Yeah.
That's just like the no example you said.
Exactly. Yeah.
These nuances just keep growing.
Yeah.
And you even had on your Instagram a really funny story where like someone was in your life and like a dating kind of vibe, and it'd been months, and Bruno mentioned this person, and I guess was curious, and it had clearly observed that this person moved, like this was a change in situation.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, so what really struck me about that one was the timing of it, because I hadn't heard from this person in months, and then I'd heard from him just the day before. And it was, I went through a lot of emotions about it that night, and I wasn't like talking to him about it. It was very like internal. It was an email. I think it was an email involved, and I was just read it and I responded, and then just like had like a sleepless night about it. And in the morning, I'm having my coffee, and he's like, he just pressed the button of the guy's name.
The next day.
Yeah,
Right.
the next
Wow.
morning.
Wow.
And
That's wild.
yeah.
Truly have a caring friend there looking out for your best interests.
And then if you see that video, like he gives me advice. Like,
oh, wow.
like such a caring friend. So the other weirdness that he's done is that he will comment on things that I'm not speaking about out loud. That like he'll comment on what I'm looking at on my phone.
Wow.
And that's like he's had to do it a lot of times for me to be convinced that he was talking about the thing that I'm thinking about or looking at that he's not looking at. Just the amount of times that he's accurately pressed the button of the name of the friend that I'm speaking to, or like
whoa.
like, my favorite one was like so our friend Meg is like one of his favorite people in the world, and I was texting with her and he goes, Meg, hello. And I'm like,
just a text. You're not.
I'm just texting. Yeah, I'm like just, twiddling my thumbs as far as what I would think he could be able to be aware of. And I'm like, Bruno says hi.
See, I thought it was, maybe like a FaceTime, or so there was no cues except your facial reactions to typing this text.
Yeah.
That was enough to give Bruno a Meg indication.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's crazy. That's amazing.
Yeah. Crazy's okay. I'm okay with the word crazy.
We're okay with that for the record. Any of these that we can press?
Yeah, we can press any. He's not going to be confused by us pressing them.
Do you mind if I don't want to overstep here?
Go for it.
All right. Oh, it's kind of like a DJ thing. Like if you press it again, it'll play. Yeah.
Yeah, he does have fun with that. He
That's
likes
fun.
To double press.
Okay. Okay. Hi, Bruno.
You want a demo for us? Not on command.
That's
fine.
I get it.
Stay.
What was that one?
Churu. Would you like a treat? We could get you a treat.
What was the word?
Churu. He's got a churu.
Churu.
Yeah.
I'm not familiar.
Okay, this is like especially with elder cats, you got to give them these. They're like go-gurts.
Okay.
Maybe I should reinforce that. I mean, we're way beyond the reinforcement stage.
Let's do it. It's snack break time for
Yeah.
Bruno. It's Bruno's 19th birthday. He's had an amazing journey.
Oh.
And we
Exiting the snuggles.
it's been so good getting to know you guys today. And
Bye.
yeah, thank you for having me and sharing your story. It's so cool. I think so many people are going to get just value out of this and learning. Like, I came in just, not just coming in with an open mind. I didn't want to read up too much, or I looked at, your Instagram, some other videos, but I kind of wanted to come in and just experience this. And you're so great at guiding me through this. 19th birthday. What are the plans? What are the plans for the day?
Yeah. I was thinking hard about it because I knew his birthday was coming up and I just didn't know what does he enjoy, right? He doesn't enjoy food. He doesn't enjoy costumes.
Right.
So he enjoys talking. And so us talking about him is actually I think one of the greatest gifts that we're giving him.
Oh, look at that.
Obviously enjoying. He just walked by. He's thoroughly enjoying getting to hear us talk about him. And then later, a friend is going to come stay over. She's flying in from London. One of our old friends is going to come stay with us for a couple nights. So his favorite things, talking, hearing stories, and then having a friend come stay with him in the living room is going to be
roommate.
Yeah, slumber party.
Slumber party. There you go.
It's going to be so, he's going to just have such a good day. So
That's great.
Yeah.
Is the friend on the board?
she's not on the board.
Oh,
my God.
that might need to change quickly.
Yes, yeah, we'll add that today.
That might need to change quickly.
Yeah.
Get the friend up.
Yes. Is she really not? She's really not. Okay. Well, now that she's coming for a slumber party, she's going to get on the board.
Yeah, that would make her feel very welcome.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, happy birthday to Bruno here. Make sure you check out Bruno's page and bruno.know on Instagram. So check that out. Just great kind of behind the scenes, little stories that Lizzy does a great job sharing with everybody. So Lizzy, thank you so much for having me here and just sharing your great story. And
Such
Bruno,
a
thank you for
pleasure.
having me. Kika, thank you for having me over.
Such a pleasure, Matt. Yeah.
Good. That's it. All right, I'm gonna get a
Okay.
ton of B-roll here.
Cool. Yeah.